All right, friends, I think you're with me here. It's Peggy Hall from the Healthy American, and I'm streaming live. Today is Monday. It's February. What day is it? I don't even know. February 16th, I think. And I'm so glad that you're here with me because we are going to be talking about Maha's big Mike Tyson mistake. Yes, I'm calling it a mistake in quotation marks because it is a lot worse than that. Worst is worse than worse, that as I like to say. And I'm going to do something in our broadcast that I rarely ever do. Once in a while, a very rare while, I will actually bring you someone else's research and information. And that's what I'm going to do on this broadcast. This information comes from Sasha Ladipova. Now, I understand that for some people, she can be a controversial figure, and I've actually spoken to her in person. There are many areas where our views coincide. She has done so much to expose what I call the hogwash over the last several years. And I just wanted to let you know that I received a Substack that someone forwarded to me about this information that she uncovered related to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't watch the Super Bowl. You probably don't watch the Super Bowl, but this relates to an advertisement that ran. And what's more distressing to me is not that the Maha movement was participating in the Super Bowl, although that in and of itself is a concern, but wait until you find out who they have taken on as their spokesman. Now, you know that I'm no fan of Bob Kennedy. I've exposed his double talking ways for years. Many of you were very stunned and you experienced some cognitive dissonance. Dissidence, as I call it, cognitive dissonance, meaning the information that I presented was so contrary to what you believed that your first response and your first emotion was anger. And rather than being angry at Bob for deluding you and bamboozling you and hoodwinking you, you got mad at me because I was exposing you to the truth. So I've been committed to the truth since day one. And this information, as I say, was so distressing and stomach turning to me that I want to make sure that if you are still applauding what Bob Kennedy is doing, you probably are going to be asking questions about this latest move, just like I am and just like Sasha is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you this Substack. We're going to look at it. She has included some captions and some images, I should say, that I want to share with you as well. And I want to thank her for this Substack because she did the research and I'm able to share that with you on this broadcast. So here we go. We're going over, oh, there I am. We don't want to see that. We want to see this. So here we are. And this is her Substack. Let me know if you subscribe to it. And it is called Due Diligence and Art. And we'll go to the beginning. And it says, a Maha win, a convicted rapist human ear biter will scold you to eat real food. She says, I am not a conspiracist. I am just asking some awkward questions. So this is where I got the information. I'll come back on the screen share in just a moment. But I want to also remind you of a broadcast that I did questioning the Maha association with Russell Brand. Now, Russell Brand, as of today, is not a convicted rapist, but he has had several charges of sexual abuse and rape and other horrible things, including with a minor. That has been alleged. Now, I'm a person that says innocent until proven guilty, but there are so many things that concern me about Russell Brand, and I've done several videos with all of his gestures and his symbolism and tattoos and the way that he dresses, the way he comports himself, or the lack of comportment, I should say, and the very strange association that Bob Kennedy's prior organization, Children's Health Defense, decided to take upon themselves with Russell Brand. So it's so curious to me, and I've had this conversation with a few people that are awake and aware, and they said, well, you know, Peggy, they're just trying to get another part of the population to go along with Maha and to go along with Bob Kennedy and to go along with Children's Health Defense. Well, there's a way of going about it. in my opinion. And there are some people that are never going to get on board. And it reminds me of some of these modern day churches that actually admit to luring, I'm going to use that word, luring people into the seats by talking about worldly things, talking about the Super Bowl, for example, and doing a lot of, I guess you can loosely call them sermons, a lot of presentations where they're not really preaching the word of God, but they are just tickling the listeners' ears so that they can entice them to come to church. And in my opinion, that's the wrong way to do that as well. If you're going to try to get people to support your message needs to be so compelling. And that is what draws the people, not all of these celebrities and names and, in the case of Maha, and then in the case of the modern day mega churches, bringing them in with the lights and the rock bands and the other things that aren't really, in my opinion, they're more worldly than godly. To each his own, but I'm just saying it reminds me of that. So those who are attracted, I think the saying goes, what you win them with is what, I don't know how the saying goes. If anybody knows that saying, please let me know. But it basically says that it's just kind of a hollow foundation. So I don't understand what's going on with this so-called Maha movement. So having said that, let's go back to the Substack, and you're going to be as shocked as I am, unless you have already read this. So she says, I'm not interested in football, and the only time I watched the Super Bowl commercials closely was for a class assignment in business school in 1997. At the time, the commercials were quite well made and professional. Today, they are idiotic and degenerate. Well, again, we don't agree on everything, and I don't care for commercials, and maybe there were some that were made quite well and professional, and I know that in a lot of business schools, they did use Super Bowl advertisements to teach marketing principles and so forth. I personally don't really watch TV. I don't care for, commercials and all of that. She said, but I agree with her that they are idiotic and degenerate. Maha's Real Food campaign for the Super Bowl 2026 is on trend with both the idiocy and the degeneracy. I am at a loss to explain the overall black, menacing look, the one-eye satanic symbolism, the facial tattoos, a hallmark of drug cartels, and the overall choice of a violent knucklehead Mike Tyson to be the face of this health campaign. I am not proposing a conspiracy. I'm just asking simple questions. So, again, I'll come off the screen share and I'll just read some of this and then we'll go back and look at the images. She said, can we define real food, Secretary Kennedy? She says a few other things that I don't want to, well, I'll just say it. Does human flesh qualify? And that refers to Mike Tyson when he bit, not once, but twice, someone's ear. And you're going to see the jokes or the amusement that he took in that. Do you care, Bob Kennedy, to explain how women should feel about your choice of a convicted violent rapist as the Maha Real Food spokesperson? You got to admit, even if you're a fan of Bob Kennedy, you have to be honest with yourself and admit that this is a strange choice, isn't it? I don't want you to be gaslit into saying, Peggy, there you go again. You're making a big deal out of nothing. These are big deals because they were done intentionally. And then she says, would you like me to tell you how I feel about this? I love that because on my Living Swell channel, I teach communication skills, among other things. And one of the tips that I use is when you're having a debate with people is to simply ask them, would you like to hear my opinion? It's much more impactful for you to open the door or have the door closed on you by saying, would you like to hear what I have to say about that? Or I hear where you're coming from. Would you like to hear my perspective? And then they either have to say yes, or they say no, and you know that they're not going to listen. They might not listen even if they say yes, but at least you have opened that door. You can hear that I'm a little bit hoarse voice, so hopefully I'll be able to persevere throughout this broadcast. She writes, Maha's Real Food campaign spokesperson, Mike Tyson, is a convicted rapist. Is it legal to cough? Is that a cooties cough? Are the cooties police going to come get me? This was in 1992. He was accused of raping 18-year-old Desiree Washington, a beauty pageant contestant. I'm going to kind of gloss over some of this, but you can read the entire Substack. I'll have a link for you. also in my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. In fact, I probably will just replay or repost this Substack for you tomorrow with my video embedded. Again, this is from Sasha Latypova, and the reason I'm sharing it is because she has a lot of excellent points made about this choice of spokesperson that Bob Kennedy approved of. Maybe it was even his idea. So anyway, in 1992, Tyson was convicted guilty of rape and related charges. He was sentenced to a prison term that a portion of it was suspended. He served about 3 years in an Indiana state prison. And it's interesting because, let me share my screen. Back in the day, I don't know how current this is, but Mike Tyson has been a Trump supporter. So I don't know how current this is, but that was an image that she shared in her Substack. So she goes on to say that, I don't even know if I was sharing my screen, but here we go now. After Mike Tyson was convicted of rape, I'll show you that image in a moment, Donald Trump publicly defended him. And Trump criticized the verdict, calling it a travesty, suggested that Tyson had been railroaded by the justice system. Well, I didn't follow that. This is my own commentary. I did not follow that, friends, back then. Let me know if you did. That was 30 something years ago. And it's horrible either way. It's horrible if the rape occurred. It's horrible if he served prison time and he was innocent. And I know that there are corrupt courts and so forth. I cannot give you an opinion on this because I did not study the evidence. Trump proposed that instead of going to prison, Tyson could fight and donate the money from the fight proceeds to rape victims, including the victim in his case. That suggestion was widely criticized. It never became a part of the legal process. Tyson himself said that Trump was helping me with my court case and that they were good friends. Okay, fast forward to 2026. Mike Tyson said that he grew up on food stamps and that eating junk and processed food was all he knew. Everything was processed food, he said. It was just the norm. We didn't have much money, but we had food stamps. And food stamps could buy you candy, sugar, soda, and all that rotten stuff. Okay, here's what Sasha says. All right, here are some more awkward questions. If Mike Tyson grew up on chips and soda and became such a powerful athlete and a champion, doesn't this prove that chips and soda are healthy for you? I think that's so funny how she put it. At a minimum, this should clue everyone that in Maha, okay, these are her words, everyone, at a minimum, this should clue in everyone in Maha that they're lying about processed food is a killer. Clearly, it's far from a killer. Now, that's her opinion. I do find it ironic that he grew up on the junk food and he did become the champion. And he, according to Sasha, Tyson has been eating junk food all his life and is getting paid to promote it too. However, thanks to Maha and the Health and Human Services, SNAP recipients, SNAP is what the word is now for food stamps, like his childhood family in some states, can no longer buy the precious items that Mike Tyson shilled in this commercial. So I did not know this. As I say, I didn't really watch TV or anything, but take a look at this. Here he is, the undisputed champions, Diet Pepsi and Mike Tyson. Diet Pepsi, the undisputed champion. So there he was in that advertisement. I want to pause for just a moment because I feel compelled to give you my opinion about the SNAP program and food and the restrictions. Right off the bat, I'm a person that loves to live a healthy, natural lifestyle. If you'd like to join me on Fridays over at my second channel, Living Swell, like the ocean swell, with Peggy Hall, we talk all about elevating your mental, emotional, physical life so that you're choosing the highest quality foods and activities and thoughts and people and all of that. So I'm all about healthy, natural living. I would much rather opt for an apple over a bag of chips. There's nothing wrong with enjoying snacks and so forth. I don't tell anybody what to eat or how they should eat. And I certainly don't want the government telling me what to eat or how I should eat. Wouldn't you hate it if I told you what you could eat? You would hate that. You'd say, what business business isn't of yours. I want to eat what I want to eat. Now, maybe you want to seek out information and education. You might even want to consult with me as a wellness coach for a healthy eating plan. Heaven knows I've done plenty of those over my years when I was very active in wellness coaching, and I did all sorts of that kind of stuff. But that's for people that are willingly asking for it. I never imposed my healthy natural eating regimen on anyone. I've had interviews with Dr. Chari, who talks about eating for energy and if you want to lose weight and balance your blood sugar. She's given so many wonderful recommendations. In fact, I'm going to have her back on the show and we'll talk more about that. But that's optional. Those are ideas. I don't believe in using tax dollars, your money and my money, some of it stolen from our pockets, being used for that. Why is the government in charge in any way, shape, or form telling us what to eat? I wholeheartedly reject that. I know there are people in my audience that I love that have a different opinion, and that's wonderful. This is an opinion. And the reason I have such a strong opinion about this is because why should someone be denied their own choice of food just because they can't afford to pay for it? I'm not in favor of that either. If you find yourself in a situation, and I know people personally that are legitimately in need of government assistance, I would not deny them to have that, but why would you deny them the ability to choose what they want to purchase with those funds? I don't agree with that. That is not freedom. And here's why it's so troubling to me. It's a very short hop, skip, and a jump from telling the SNAP recipients what they can and can't eat, more importantly, what they can't eat, and then your health insurance company telling you what you can't eat. And don't think they don't know, because you have your loyalty shopping card from the grocery store. They know exactly what you're buying. And whatever you buy on Amazon and whatever you buy when you're running your credit card or your debit card, all of that is tracked. So they know what you are eating. It's a hop, skip, and a jump from the health insurance companies telling you what you can't eat to just the government telling you what you can't eat. No. Education precedes or supersedes or should replace regulation. You want to educate people that an apple is healthier than a bag of chips. Well, that's shocking to me that there's a person alive that wouldn't know that. But if someone wants to eat a bag of chips and soda and whatever, that's no skin off my teeth. Well, Peggy, it's a strain on the medical system. Oh, really? And you have evidence for that? Where's your evidence? It might make them happy. It might relax them. It might be their favorite thing to do is to unwind with a bag of chips and a Diet Coke or a regular Coke, what have you. You've never had that? It's so presumptuous of the government to do that and so unnecessary. So I am 100% against that. It is more government control and strangulation by unnecessary regulation. All right, I'll step off the soapbox for now. All right, and if you have a different opinion, let me know in a comment. And let's go back. Let's see where we are here. She goes on to say, of course, Tyson's most famous, not for the soda commercials, Sasha Ladipova writes, but for biting someone's ear off in a fight. The bite fight, one of the craziest moments to happen in all of combat sport history. Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear not once but twice and got disqualified for it. Are human ears real food? According to the Maha, she writes, they're not ultra processed. I would like Health and Human Services to please clarify this. So she's got her own snark going on. Tyson leaned into the cannibalism theme over the years. Okay, I'm giving you a vomit bucket warning here. This is Mike Tyson with a cake that he had at an exhibition boxing match. Now, I'm not a person who cares for boxing. I'm not a person who cares for violence. You want to eliminate violence. I'm in favor of that. But you want to eat chips and soda? You're going to have to, that's your own responsibility. So here we go. He's got a cake that looks like a human head from at a table, as if it is cannibalism, and he's got the knife. And let's see, Mike Tyson eats the ear off the Roy Jones cake ahead of an exhibition bout. So I'm surmising that this was the boxer he was facing, and he cuts off the ear and eats it. How do you like them apples? Well, them are pretty bizarre apples. It gets worse. In 2022, Mike Tyson was selling marijuana gummies in a shape of a bitten human ear called Mike Bites. But he couldn't sell them in Colorado because of a law against selling human-shaped edibles. Maybe she meant California. She wrote Colorado, but it looks like it's a California. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but here we have it. A bitten ear. This is the Maha Real Food spokesperson. In light of all this, she writes, here is the creepy marketing campaign image. Now, I did not verify this, but it looks that it came from Twitter, as I call it, maybe Instagram. And this very much looks AI generated, but it's under his blue check mark account. He's got the Mike Tyson face tattoo, which really creates a focus on this one-eyed symbolism. And I guess he's supposed, I don't even know what this means. I need to double check to see if maybe some of you can research this for me and email me, support@thehealthyamerican.org. Did Mike Tyson get paid for this? How much did Mike Tyson get of your money that you worked hard for, that you get to keep maybe, I don't know, 50% of what you earn? And it goes to things like this, to create these images and to pay Mike Tyson. Eat real food, realfood.gov. And I like how Sasha says, well, define it. What is real food exactly? What does that mean? Care to explain the one-eye symbolism and the drug cartel reference here, Senate Secretary Kennedy? I guess this is supposed to be drug related. In light of the Epstein files, revelations, and Tyson's proclivities for human ears, this image gives me Hannibal Lecter vibes. I told you to get your vomit bucket ready. Are they normalizing this? I mean, he didn't eat ultra-processed food, right? I mean, again, she's doing her snark, which is fine. Just so you don't accuse me of being overly critical of Maha, this is a promotional image for the campaign telling you to bite like Mike. Readers, you decide who is crazy, me or Maha HHS. Someone should tell them to fire their advertising agency. Bite like Mike. He's got the teeth. We already know that this is a reference to biting a human. I mean, the violence alone, let alone the cannibalism, but the violence is very offensive to me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm too delicate. You let me know. Realfood.gov. Now, on Wednesday, on my next video, I'm going to dive into the realfood.gov. We're going to look to see how much money Mike Tyson got out of your pocket. And she says, my sincere advice, everyone, please walk away from Maha MAGA. They are slowly leading you into more and more concessions with their bosses, who are the same bosses Epstein trafficked. Now, okay, there's some things I need to, I don't even want to know. And who knows if that whole Epstein is not even another additional psyop of a psyop of a psyop. I am not going to talk about that because I'm not going to decondition people, if that's the right word. I'm not going to, it's called exposure therapy. For example, if you have a fear of flying, they're going to tell you, go to an airport, drive home, walk inside the terminal, and then leave. Go up to a ticket booth, sit on a plane, get off the plane. They're going to have you be exposed to these things that trouble you. So after a while, you're not going to be disturbed by it. My opinion is all of this that's in the news is to desensitize people to the most unspeakable, horrific, heinous. There's not even enough language to describe. And I, for one, am not going to normalize it by talking about it. I refuse. And you know, I never have and I never will. Hashtag never have, never will. So no, if you're wasting your time on that, you need to really check your heart and your soul. What are you getting out of it? Oh, I know about it. And then what? There's nothing for you to do other than to fall into their trap of being desensitized and conditioned and start to say, well, everybody does that. Well, no, 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 and no. That's another soapbox I didn't plan on stepping on. So let's see what you have to say, friends. Thank you for being on board. We'll take a look, see if YouTube will give me your comments here. Okay, double yuck, spirit cooking. These people are all clowns. They're not hiding this stuff anymore. Real food is minimally processed, one ingredient. You'd probably be hauled off to jail for that nowadays. Yeah, it's really, really strange. It's a touchy subject. It should be something that's more individualized, meaning your food choices. It's hard to reconcile a choice of jokes with Tyson for healthy eating, with a very vocal and staunch supporter of pot. I don't know about, because he's doing the cannabis. The medical system is the problem. Peggy, you need to understand, I think he's talking about when he was very young. He was later adopted and he changed his life. Glad to know that, meaning when he was very young, he was on the junk food. Okay. Well, you know where I stand about people's right to choose what they eat. I will defend that just like I will defend everyone's right to breathe. You have a right to eat what you want to, Cheetos and Fruit Loops included. You can choose them, you cannot choose them. That is freedom. You eating Fruit Loops doesn't hurt anybody. And that's the bottom line. All right, I'm going to sign off for now, everybody. Thank you so much for being on board. I love my Healthy Americans, the best audience on YouTube, and I think I have the best subscriber list on Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. I'll have this video embedded along with a repost of Sasha's so you can read that, and we'll continue the conversation. I've got lots of good stuff I want to talk to you about next week, like the EPA getting rid of these ridiculous greenhouse gases. The assignment that the greenhouse gases are somehow killing the planet. That is huge, and I have not seen that covered very much in the news. All right, thanks everybody for being on board. I'm going to rest my voice. I'll be back here with you on Wednesday, and of course Friday. We leave the headlines behind, and we help ourselves keep our head above the waves in the stormy seas of life. Here I go with another Tennessee goodbye. All right, everybody.